At exactly 4 hours, early warning radar screens across the CENTCOM theater light up, not with one isolated threat, but a coordinated swarm. A synchronized volley of hypersonic glide vehicles and low-flying stealth cruise missiles heading for Allied logistics hubs. Time to impact, 120 seconds. 120 seconds. In the old calculus of naval warfare, this represents a fatal saturation strike. The adversary calculates a 98% probability of kill. They rely entirely on the sheer physics of mass overmatch to exhaust our floating magazines and shatter our maritime dominance. But the tactical map has finally changed. Welcome to the Golden Dome defense. Under the bold directives of the 2026 National Defense Strategy, the Pentagon is no longer just reacting to incoming fire. It is fundamentally rewriting the lethal geometry of Middle Eastern air defense. We are taking the ocean's most proven and lethal shield, the Aegis Combat System, bolting it directly to the desert floor and networking it into an unbreachable terrestrial grid. But why now? Why pull a multi-billion-dollar maritime system ashore in the most volatile sandpit on Earth? The answer is buried deep in a terrifying operational metric that Washington just woke up to. What is the fatal structural flaw in our carrier strike groups that forced this radical engineering shift? And how exactly does a landlocked ship fix it? For a decade, the United States Navy has carried the crushing burden of ballistic missile defense in the Middle East. An Arleigh Burke-class destroyer is a marvel of lethality. It packs 96 vertical launch cells, 96 cells. But here is the brutal, unforgiving reality of maritime logistics. A ship at sea cannot reload its VLS under fire. Once those silos are emptied, a $2 billion asset becomes a sitting duck. The adversary understands this limitation perfectly. They have engineered a strategy of exhaustion. Let us look at the hard numbers. An adversary holds a documented inventory of over 3,000 theater ballistic missiles. If they launch a coordinated salvo of 100 munitions, standard defense doctrine dictates a shoot-shoot-look engagement profile. 2 SM-6 interceptors per incoming threat. That requires exactly 200 interceptors, 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers, entirely depleted of defensive armament in a span of 4 minutes. 4 minutes. This is the structural gap that is killing our fleet readiness. The adversary's mathematical equation is simple yet devastating. E equals S greater than M. Effectiveness equals salvo size greater than magazine depth. They believe they have completely solved the grid. They believe they can simply outspend our limited floating magazines with cheap steel and solid rocket fuel. They force our high-value hulls to stay on station 300 days a year, burning hull life, burning crew endurance, and operating in restricted littoral waters with zero margin for error. A ship sitting in the Strait of Hormuz has less than 2 minutes to detect, track, and engage a Mach 5 target. The geometry is too tight. The physics are stacked heavily against the defender. The cost-exchange ratio is broken. We are firing $4 million interceptors at cheap rockets. The structural failure is not technological. It is purely logistical. The 2026 National Defense Strategy recognized this fatal arithmetic. You cannot fight a land-based war of attrition with finite sea-based assets. You need deep terrestrial magazine depth. You need massive power generation that does not rely on shipboard gas turbines. You need Aegis Ashore, but not the legacy systems deployed in Romania or Japan. You need the heavily militarized 2026 variant, the Middle Eastern Golden Dome. Let's talk engineering truth. To dismantle the adversary's E equals S greater than M equation, the 2026 NDS introduces a mechanical leviathan. Compare the legacy Aegis Baseline 9 system on a guided missile cruiser to the new Middle East Aegis Ashore configuration. The defining difference is power. Raw, unadulterated electrical output. A ship is constrained by the physical limits of its hull. Its radar can only draw so many megawatts before the ship's propulsion and life support systems go dark. Aegis Ashore plugs directly into localized hardened subterranean microgrids. Unlimited power. Unlimited power. This unlimited energy unlocks the true terrifying potential of the AN SPY-7-1 solid-state radar. The SPY-7 utilizes advanced gallium nitride technology. It is a scalable, modular radar that operates continuously, generating a persistent, impenetrable radar dome, the Golden Dome. Unlike the older SPY-1, which rotates beams sequentially and leaves microgaps in coverage, the SPY-7 can look everywhere, all the time. It easily detects low RCS objects the size of a golf ball from over 3,000 miles away. But the radar array is only half the weapon system. The real strategic shift is the mechanical adaptation of the Mk-41 vertical launch system. A ship has 96 cells. An Aegis Ashore battery can be scaled infinitely. The new Middle East variant utilizes a highly dispersed subterranean VLS infrastructure. We're talking about vast fields of heavily armored launch tubes networked via redundant fiber optics back to the central SPY-7 node. This permanently breaks the magazine depth constraint. If the adversary launches 100 missiles, the Golden Dome doesn't blink. It has 500 interceptors ready in the dirt. 500 interceptors. We have flipped the tactical math. But how does it achieve the kill? The engineering marvel here is the SM-3 Block IIA interceptor. It does not use explosive fragmentation warheads. It relies entirely on a kinetic kill vehicle. This is a 1,500-pound missile accelerating to Mach 15 to hit a bullet with another bullet in the cold vacuum of space. The kinetic energy released at impact is roughly equivalent to a 10-ton truck hitting a solid concrete wall at 600 miles per hour. Complete instantaneous vaporization. Furthermore, the 2026 NDS heavily integrates launch-on-remote doctrine. In the past, the ship firing the missile had to track the target with its own organic radar. Now, a forward-deployed MQ-9 Reaper drone or an F-35 can spot the initial thermal bloom of the launch. It feeds the raw telemetry back to the Aegis Ashore Central Command Center. The Golden Dome launches the SM-3 Interceptor before its own SPY-7 radar even sees the threat crest the horizon. It hands off mid-course guidance data in mid-flight. This doctrinal feature expands the interception envelope by hundreds of miles. It physically pushes the kill zone back over enemy territory, rather than waiting for the threat to reach our own bases. We have taken the ultimate maritime interceptor, decoupled it from the fragile steel hull of a ship, and weaponized the desert itself. Let us wargame the 2026 operational environment. The adversary decides to execute a multi-axis decapitation strike against critical Allied infrastructure. It is a highly complex, layered attack designed to overwhelm traditional point defense. Here is the sequential interlocking condition chain. Step 1. The hypersonic glide vehicle launch. The adversary fires a salvo of 3 HGVs specifically targeted to blind our coastal early warning radars. They fly low, surfing the edge of the atmosphere at Mach 8 to evade standard detection envelopes. Condition 1 is met. The threat profile mathematically exceeds legacy interception speed and traditional radar horizon limits. Step 2. Sensor fusion and launch on remote. The incoming HGVs are currently below the horizon for all ground-based radar systems, but the Aegis Ashore facility relies on a mesh network of space-based IR sensors and airborne surveillance nodes. An orbiting MQ-4C Triton detects the initial thermal bloom of the booster rockets. Raw tracking data is instantaneously relayed via secure Link 16 data links back to the Aegis Ashore Central Command Center. Condition 2 is met. The target is positively acquired and tracked well beyond line of sight. Step 3. the algorithmic match and remote engagement. The Aegis Combat System processes the telemetry and calculates the precise intercept geometry in milliseconds. It recognizes standard maneuvering characteristics of the HGVs. It knows standard interceptors will fail to match the erratic flight path. The system algorithmically selects the SM-6 Dual 2. The Golden Dome automatically ripple fires 4 SM-6s from dispersed VLS pods located miles away from the main radar site, masking the launch origin. Condition 3 is met. Interceptor launch is successful and mid-course guidance lock is established via airborne relay. Step 4. The terminal intercept phase. The SM-6 interceptors rapidly climb to the very edge of the atmosphere. They receive continuous microsecond telemetry updates from the SPY-7 radar system, which is now painting the targets as they finally pop over the physical horizon. The interceptors ignite their dual-thrust rocket motors, violently matching the hypersonic evasive maneuvers of the threat. At 80,000 feet, the kinetic kill vehicles detach. They calculate the final predicted trajectory. Impact. The HGVs are shattered into a cloud of molten shrapnel over empty, unoccupied desert, a full 200 miles away from their intended target. Condition 4 is met. The high-end threat is completely neutralized without exposing a single naval hull to catastrophic risk. This interlocking system changes everything about theater defense. The adversary's entire strategy relied heavily on catching our carrier strike groups pinned in restricted waters. By deploying the Golden Dome architecture, we have finally freed the fleet. The Arleigh Burke destroyers can now maneuver laterally. They can aggressively transition from purely defensive escorts into offensive hunters. The Aegis Ashore facility handles the grinding strategic defense. The United States Navy handles the strategic offense. It is a seamless, lethal ecosystem. The 2026 National Defense Strategy is not merely a political policy document. It is a harsh recognition of engineering. Modern war is not won by rhetoric or posturing. It is won by mathematics, physics, and overwhelming industrial depth. Industrial depth. For years, we attempted to solve a massive continental defense problem using finite maritime assets. We played right into the adversary's hands, allowing them to dictate the operational attrition rate and exhaust our floating magazines. The Golden Dome Aegis Ashore deployment reclaims the strategic initiative. By rooting the world's most advanced naval combat system deep into the Earth, we permanently solved the magazine depth crisis. We unleashed unlimited electrical power for our most advanced sensors. But most importantly, we unchained the United States Navy. Warships are uniquely designed to move, to strike, and to dominate the sea lanes. Not to serve as stationary multi-billion-dollar missile batteries, simply waiting to be depleted. Industrial depth is the ultimate decider. When you can outproduce, outpower, and outrange the enemy, their tactical models collapse. The Aegis Ashore modification is the purest expression of this principle. It is the absolute triumph of engineering scale over brute force attrition. The Golden Dome ensures that when the missile warning sounds across the theater, the brutal math of combat is finally on our side. The adversary's carefully calculated equation is permanently broken. We have forced them to fight our industry, not just our hulls. If this breakdown helped you understand the formula of the Golden Dome defense, subscribe and ring the bell to get latest Navy video.